Hey everyone, either welcome back or welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I want to talk about the symptoms that I had before I ended up getting the blood patch. So before I get too far into the video, time for the intro. Hey everyone, my name is Ashley Stewart. So 2018 was actually a pretty hard year for me, but it was also a pretty good year too. So I completed my bachelor's degree in biochemistry. But at the same time, I was also diagnosed with a rare condition called idiopathic intracranial hypertension, or IIH. Some of you may also know this by its older name called pseudotumor cerebri. So, if you're curious to learn more about what it's like to live with this rare condition, then I encourage you to watch on. Don't forget to subscribe, and I upload new content every Monday and Thursday afternoon. As you guys know from when I told my story about the lumbar puncture, I ended up having to have a blood patch afterwards because I had developed a leak. And this is why that week became basically the worst week of my life. After I had the lumbar puncture, I'm going to start from the very end of the lumbar puncture. I actually thought I had gotten away with a very, very lucky lumbar puncture. They got it on the first attempt, I believe. It did feel like there was a little bit of digging, but it's hard to know. They told me that I had to lie flat, totally flat for an hour after the procedure. After, I think it was about a couple hours, they said they got me to have something to eat because it was a little bit after lunchtime. So I was able to eat. I wasn't able to eat very well, but I was able to eat. It just took me a while. So I had eaten and then basically had to lay there, I think, for another hour and a half or so. They kept me for about 3 hours after the procedure. And I think at about 2 hours or so is when the freezing started to come out, the anesthetic, and once there was a little bit of pain, but it wasn't terrible at that point. And then after that, they're like, "Do you have a headache or anything?" I said no. I basically walked out of the hospital. They asked me if I wanted a wheelchair. I said no, I'll be fine. I'll just walk slow. And I was actually pretty exhausted because of not sleeping the night before. Like I said, go check out my lumbar puncture video. You'll find out why I was so exhausted. When I got home, I was basically lying down all the time because I was instructed to make sure I was basically lying down as much as possible for the first, well, specifically, I think they wanted me pretty much not very active for the first 24 to 48 hours. I don't exactly remember it, but it's on the sheet that they gave me. So I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it was quite a while. So I'm going to fast forward now to pretty much exactly 24 hours after I had the lumbar puncture. And this is when I started to notice that I was feeling not very good at all. It was almost 24 hours on the dot, actually. And so it started out basically as just a headache whenever I was sitting up. So I really only noticed this when I tried to eat. That's basically how it started out, and that's kind of how it was for most of like the between 24 and 48 hours after I had my lumbar puncture. Then we get to about 48 hours after the lumbar puncture, and now I have a screaming headache even when I'm lying down. Even lying down isn't working. It was exceptionally worse when I was sitting up, but even now laying down, it wasn't feeling very good. We were told if we had these symptoms that we need to go to the ER, but do we really have to go to the ER? Because we were instructed to go to the same ER that I had my lumbar puncture, which meant we had to drive an hour away, and it's a larger ER, so we knew we would be waiting a while. And we were instructed to do that. It was very painful, and the worst part is I wasn't able to lie down. The weirdest symptom that came with this low pressure headache is similar to the pulsing that you get with the high pressure headache, so where it's whoosh, whoosh, whoosh to your own heartbeats. But this time, it was like when you put up a shell to your ear and that that the wind has been in the shell, and you can hear the wind in the shell. So it's like you can hear the ocean in the shell. This is how I described it to the doctors too. It was 15-20 minutes after the blood patch, and I was already starting to feel better. So it was like almost instant, and that was amazing, actually, to experience as a patient. It was totally worth the risk, and honestly, like, it might have sealed in the end, but it would have taken a significant amount of time, and at this point, I hadn't eaten for almost 2 days. So I'm just like, "Nope, we have to do something because I haven't eaten." That headache, I think, was comparable, if not worse, than the headache I get with the high pressure headaches. I've had some pretty severe headaches with the high pressure headaches, but that low pressure headache was something else. If you guys have anything that you would like to add to the comments down below, feel free to do so. And as for now, that's it for today. Bye, everyone.